Hello, legal warriors. How to do a Zoom court hearing. If you have an online court hearing coming up on any of the video conferencing platforms, this is the video for you. So stay tuned. My name's Lance Fryrear, and I'm a defense attorney and live in Washington. My law firm's been defending people charged with crimes for more than 20 years. And let's face it, video court is here to stay. And if you have a criminal charge, because that's the type of work my firm does, you're probably going to have to go to court online. And most places in my state, Washington State, and all throughout the country are using Zoom to do this. And you may be worried about how do you do it. So I'm going to cover some of the basics here for you so you don't have to worry and you don't have to panic. So the first thing you need to find out if you've got a court hearing is it still being done by Zoom? And if so, what is the link? How do I get in? So take a look for your court notice. Oftentimes a court notice will have instructions. It'll say, here's the link, here's what you need to do. If you're not sure, contact your attorney if you have one. If you don't have one or you can't reach your attorney or public defender, contact the court. They're used to dealing with this question. So once you determine that you indeed do have a court hearing online, be it, I'm just going to call Zoom for everything here, make sure you have that link. And now we need to make sure that you have a device. You need a device that you can use to try to log in. So most of us have a phone, and if our phone has a camera, we're probably in good shape. And it's easier to do on a computer if you have one. So if you have a computer, most computers or many will have a webcam. So make sure in either case that you've downloaded what you need to download ahead of time. So you may want to try to practice. You can try to log into that link earlier if you want to. You don't have to wait until your court date. It will probably work regardless. So if you're using a phone, make sure you download the Zoom app if we're talking Zoom. If you have a computer, there is going to be some things you need to install. So on the computer, go to zoom.us and follow the instructions for joining a meeting. It's going to have you download something. There's going to be updates, but then you should be good to go. Again, on your phone, you're going to download the Zoom app. And now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to practice if you've never done this before. So try to log into a hearing or any type of Zoom meeting and see if it works. Also, you're going to need to pay attention to see if there's a password required. Some courts require a password, some courts don't. And so if you have an attorney, a good attorney will give you all this information before your hearing. A good attorney will even practice with you by setting up your own meeting to go ahead and practice and see if it works. So now that you've got everything worked out and you know the application will actually work, that can make us relax a bit. But now we have to think about where are we going to do the hearing, because you're going to have a certain time and a certain date to do the hearing, right? And so where are you going to be? Think about it. Am I going to be at work? Am I going to be at school? I'm going to be at home with the kids. So you're going to want to arrange to be somewhere quiet, somewhere where there's not distractions. And for the most part, most Zoom court hearings are going to be pretty quick for your portion of it. You might take half an hour, the whole court calendar, even longer, but usually the client's part where you have to have your camera on and unmuted might be a minute or two. So you need to be somewhere with a good internet signal and somewhere that's quiet and hopefully somewhere private. So if you're at work, some people will go into their car. If they're at home, they might get to a separate room. I've seen some people do these type of things outdoors, but what we don't want you to do is do it while you're driving or do it while you're smoking or drinking or anything like that, because you're in court and you don't want to make the judge upset. So make sure you have a good internet signal and make sure you can do it somewhere quiet and private. So now what? You've got it all worked out and it's time for court. So let's say your court's at 9 a.m., you log in at 8:55, it all works. And now you can really face some nerve-wracking situations here. So what happens often is you'll get a screen that says the court will start the meeting soon, or the host will start the meeting soon. That means that the court hasn't even started the meeting on their end to let people in. Or you might get a screen, which is really common, say something like, welcome to such and such court. The court will start soon. Please wait until we let you in, something like that. And let's say your court's at 9 o'clock, and at 9 o'clock it still hasn't started. So now what? What do you do? Well, one, don't panic. It's super common. Some courts, if you had a 9 o'clock court, they might not even let you in until 9:05 or 9:10, or I've seen some courts not even 9:30. But my rule of thumb, what we tell our clients is, hey, once it's about 5 minutes in, you need to be reaching out to us to see, are we in the same situation? For our clients, we'll text our clients separately through a texting application to have communication, because it's scary, because if you miss your court, you're probably going to get a warrant for your arrest. And how can you miss court? Well, you got the wrong link. It's happened to us before. You didn't enter it right. It's probably happened to a lot of people before. The court just is malfunctioning and it's taking a long time. And so that's also how something could go wrong. I've had one entire court calendar, I've seen it get canceled because they couldn't get the technology right on the court's end. So let's say we overcome that. We're led into the meeting. You're probably going to see a bunch of boxes go up, right? There's going to be, this person and this person and this person. So now what do you do? Well, what we want you to do, and what most courts want you to do, is we want you to turn off your camera. Turn off your camera and make sure you're muted. This is really important, especially the muted part, because we don't want everybody to hear what you're saying. If you're in a courtroom, you can whisper to someone. There's no whispering on Zoom, right? We can all hear it. So we typically want you to turn off your camera and mute yourself until your case is called. I still need you to listen up for when your case is called. And then I also want you to look at your screen. How are you named? Does your name show, Galaxy S6 or iPhone or, Panda Bear? Who knows, a nickname you have. You want to change your name on there if you can. And in Zoom, there's a way on your own screen, on your own box, you can usually click the 3 dots on the upper right-hand side and change your name. In most courts, they let you do that. In some courts, they're going to change the name for you. So listen up, the court clerk might say, hey, Galaxy such and such, can you please give me your name? Now, when you hear that, if you think that's you, unmute and tell them your name so they can change your name. All right? So it's important that you get your name right. Now, while you're waiting, you might as well look around the screen and see who all is there. Do you see your attorney? If you have a private attorney, is your attorney there, or someone from their office? They'll usually going to have labeled themselves as the attorney and an attorney from your office. Hopefully you know who that is. Or do you have a public defender? Do you see the public defender there? And I want you to listen up, because if you have a public defender, they may ask to put you in a breakout room. And what's a breakout room? A breakout room is something where the clerk can use the software to virtually put you and your attorney in just your own separate 2-box Zoom with just you and just your attorney, him or her. And then you can privately talk about what's going to happen, right? And then you have to watch your screen, because you have to join the breakout room. It's going to say you're being requested to join breakout room 4 or whatever. So just hit yes and see where you go. Now, if you don't recognize who's there and it's not your attorney, don't talk about your case, because you could be put in the wrong room with the prosecutor. Mistakes do happen. But so watch out for that breakout room. If you have a private attorney, usually you're going to have worked it out with your attorney ahead of time. You're probably not going to need that. Then pay attention to see if you see the prosecutor there. Please do not use the chat function in Zoom or these items, because mistakes can happen. You don't want to accidentally say how much you dislike the prosecutor to your attorney. Let's hope that's not true, but you don't want to accidentally do that and then have the prosecutor see it because you sent it to everybody, right? Or you don't want to say something private about your treatment or your wishes or hopes for the case, because it's just dangerous to do that way. So we strongly advise against using that function. And the court can, it's my belief, and I know it's technologically true, they will have an access to anything that was chatted, okay? During that. So if you're chatting in the system, the people that run the court have the ability to get to those chats. So I would suggest not using that. Communicate with your attorney outside of the chat functions that are available. Now, when your case is called, listen up. Always follow the court instructions, but usually the court's going to want you to basically turn on your camera, and then typically the court's going to ask you, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Defendant, can you hear me? Right? Because they want to know that you can hear them. So go ahead and say, yes, I can. And if you can't, or you can't hear well, I've been in courts where it's really hard to hear the court due to the limits of the court technology. Don't be shy. This is your life. So, politely say, hey, I can't hear you if I can't, or hey, can you repeat that? Okay. Because it's as if you're in court, but it's a bit harder. So what are some things that you can do to improve your chances? Well, dress professionally, right? Look good. Don't have a hat, right? Don't, be smoking or drinking or doing something disrespectful for the court. It's also, I want you to keep your camera off. I want you to keep your camera off so no one makes any judgments about you, because, you're trying to fit this into your life. You might be taking care of your 2-year-old, or you might be, waving to someone, I'm going to be right back with you. I'm going to be back to the construction site soon, right? So we don't want judgments made about you. That's why we need you to keep your camera off. Also, the court oftentimes will find it distracting. So once you're unmuted and you're going through your hearing, listen up, try to answer questions appropriately, have access to email or other things, because sometimes a court may need to send you a document to review. So usually you can do that on your phone. And then once the hearing is over, if it's pretty clear it's over, for the most part, it's safe to, hit mute, turn off your camera, maybe wait, a minute or two, make sure you haven't messed up, that you're not still needed. Then typically it's safe to disconnect and log out. Hey, and then we're done. So it wasn't that hard, right? And there's a couple things that go wrong. The biggest panic factor is not getting let in, right, to the room. But again, that's common. Us attorneys go through that too. So just be diligent. And once you do it once, it's going to be a lot easier to do. And what if you can't do the Zoom? What if you've given up? You're not sure. Your grandson's showing you this and you're 80 years old, or you're just not a tech guy or a tech gal. So, well, you may be able to go to your attorney's office. For our office, we'll bring people in. We'll sit them right behind us, right? And so you can see them on the same camera. Or you may be able to go in person. But if you plan to go in person, if they still letting you go in person, please tell your attorney, because it's pretty hard for the attorney to help if they're on Zoom and you're there in person, because there's really not a good way for the two of you to talk. You can't do a breakout room. It's harder to do the texting. Everything's harder if you're in different places. So it's not impossible. We have done it. But if we know it ahead of time, your attorney knows ahead of time, we can sort of take extra precautions to make sure it goes smoothly. So if you found this useful, please like and please subscribe. More people will get to see it. I put out one of these earlier. This is a more detailed one. And so I hope you found it useful. And if you have a legal problem, if it's in the criminal area, if it's in Washington State, you can always give my office a call. We'll do everything we can, and we'll be there for you. Thank you.